All right, thanks, guys. The Timberwolves take on the Rockets here tonight, 5 o'clock Eastern tip-off in Houston. The Rockets are the 11-point favorite at home, total at 230.5. We did see a half a point move toward Houston and movement upward on the total. The Rockets opened 10.5 up to minus 11. Total open 230 up to 230 and a hook. 59% are leaning Minnesota, 78% shaded toward the over. And right now the Timberwolves are plus 510 on the money line. Now if you like Minnesota in this matchup here, just keep in mind Karl Anthony Towns is technically listed as questionable, although I am optimistic that we will see him in action tonight. Minnesota is 12-8 against the spread on the road this year. They do rank in the top 10 in offensive rebounding as well. And if Karl Anthony Towns does in fact play, just keep in mind he's averaging 27 points a game, 12 rebounds, and 4 assists. And of course, Andrew Wiggins, 24 points a game, 5 rebounds for him. The T-Wolves rank in the top 5 in scoring on the road. They're averaging 114 points per contest when traveling. Now the Rockets on the other side, they failed to cover the point spread in their last 2 straight. They're also just 3-4 against the spread in their last 7. They have failures to cover against Atlanta, New Orleans, and Golden State within that stretch. Eric Gordon and Clint Capella are listed as questionable for tonight's action. And the Houston Rockets rank in the bottom 10 in three-point percentage, bottom 10 in points allowed. Now total-wise, 6 out of Houston's last 8 did stay under the total. Meanwhile, Minnesota, 70% to the under in their last 10 themselves. I'm going to lean toward the road dog in this one. Give me Minnesota plus 11 and the under 230.5 in that game. Next matchup, Bulls taking on the Pistons, 7 o'clock Detroit. The Pistons are minus 4, total 217. 56% are leaning Detroit, 57% shaded toward the under. Right now the Bulls are plus 155 on the money line. Detroit, losers of 7 out of their last 10. They also covered just 30% of their games in those 10 as well. Failures to cover against the likes of San Antonio, Chicago, and Cleveland twice. Morris and Brown are questionable. Griffin and Kennard still out indefinitely. Detroit ranks in the bottom 10 in scoring, bottom 3 in offensive rebounding. Now Chicago on the other side, a little bit of a different story. They actually rank in the top 5 in defending the 3-ball. Then they rank in the top 10 in shooting the 3-ball on the road. Zach LaVine, 24 points a game, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals. Big night for him last night. Of course, Lauri Markkanen, 15 points a game, 7 rebounds for him. We're looking at a Chicago team who, although they've struggled in spots this season, they're still 10-8 against the spread when traveling. Now, total-wise, Chicago's 5-1 to the over in their last 6. Detroit, 80% to the over in their last 10 themselves. They're also 13-6 to the over on their home court. I'm going to go ahead and lean toward the road dog in this one. Give me Chicago plus 4 and the over 217 in that matchup. Next game, Pelicans taking on the Celtics, 7 o'clock Boston. The Celtics are 9.5, total 224. 1-point move toward Boston, moving downward on the total. Celtics open 8.5 up to 9.5. Total open 225 down to 224. 53% on the Pelicans, 66% on the under. Pelicans are plus 415. Holiday and Favors are questionable for the Pels, but despite that, New Orleans has won 7 out of their last 9 games. They're also a perfect 9-0 against the spread in those 9. They rank in the top 10 in scoring, top 5 in three-point percentage. Brandon Ingram's averaging 25 points a game, 7 rebounds. J.J. Redick, 16 points a game, 3 rebounds as well. Now Boston on the other side, they failed to cover the point spread in their last 3 straight. They've also failed to cover the point spread in 6 out of their last 8 as well. Failures to cover against the likes of San Antonio, Washington, Atlanta, and Cleveland. Boston ranks in the bottom 10 in home offensive rebounding. Meanwhile, when it comes to the total, 5 out of Boston's last 7 did stay under the total. I'm going to lean toward another road team. Give me the Pelicans plus 9.5 and the under 224 in that game. And before we go ahead and move on, just want to take a quick timeout and welcome you to the show. Got some lines of personal leans out for Saturday's NBA action. But before we dive into some more of that, I just want to quickly remind you, once again, to check me out on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage, where we do daily premium sports picks on that site, beginning at just $1.99 per month. We also have a bunch of different memberships, tiers, and packages that you can subscribe to. Link for that site is in the description section below. Once again, that is patreon.com/BrockPage. All right, let's go ahead and dive into some more free lines and personal leans right here on YouTube. All starts Eastern Standard Time. And on deck, we've got Lakers taking on the Thunder, 8 o'clock, OKC. Lakers are -1, total 216. Flip of the lines in this one as the Lakers open up as the dog. We also saw movement upward on the total. Lakers open +1.5, now -1. Total open 215 up to 216. 51% leaning toward the Lakers, 80% toward the over. Right now, OKC is +102 on the money line. OKC 8-2 straight up in their last 10, 9-1 against the spread in those 10 games. Victories over Houston, Dallas, Toronto, and the Clippers. They rank in the top, and of course, those victories came in that stretch where they went 8-2 in their previous 10. But anyway, OKC, top 10 in offensive field goal percentage, top 10 in points allowed. We're looking at Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's averaging 20 points a game, 5 rebounds. And, of course, Danilo Gallinari, 18 points a game, 6 rebounds for him. This OKC squad ranks in the top 10 in defending the 3-ball. They're also in the top 3 in offensive field goal percentage at home. Now, the Lakers, on the other side, failed to cover in 3 out of their last 5. They're also covering just 40% of their games in their last 10. Failures to cover against the likes of Detroit, Pelicans, and Phoenix. The Lakers rank in the bottom 3 in free throw percentage on the road. Really, really struggling on the stripe, especially when traveling. They're also 19th in defending the 3-ball on the road as well. Now, total-wise, 4 out of the Lakers' last 6 did stay under the total. OKC 7-2 to the under in their last 9. I'm going to lean OKC +1 and the under 216 in that contest. Next game, 76ers taking on the Mavs, 8:30 Dallas. The Mavs are -2, total 223. We actually saw a 1.5-point fade of Dallas. They opened 3.5 down to -2, totals 223, 66% on the Mavericks, 57% shaded toward the over. And right now the Sixers are plus $1.15 on the money line. Keep in mind, Embiid is still out with that crazy looking finger. They're also just 2-4 against the spread in their last 6 are the Sixers. They rank in the bottom 5 in free throw percentage on the road. They rank 19th in road scoring as well. 7-12 straight up away from home, 7-12 against the spread away from home as well. Dallas on the other side, top 3 in scoring, top 5 in offensive rebounding. Luka Doncic, he's averaging 29 points a game, 10 rebounds, 9 assists. Like I said the other day, he's nearly averaging a triple-double already. And of course, Hardaway, 14 points a game, 3 rebounds for Tim. Dallas, top 3 in defending the 3-ball. Top 10 in home scoring. They're averaging 116 points per contest. And of course, 4 out of Dallas's last 5 games, of course, did get over the total. I'm going to lean Dallas -2 and the over 223 in that contest. Next game, Cavaliers, Nuggets, 9 o'clock, Denver. The Nuggets open 12.5 up to -13. Total open 215.5 up to 217 and a hook. 51% are leaning Denver, 87% toward the over. Cleveland's +660. They're also 2-0 against the spread in their last couple of games, 60% against the spread in their last 10. They're ranking the top 10 in defensive rebounding. Colin Sexton's averaging 19 points a game, 3 rebounds. And Kevin Love, 17 points a game, 10 rebounds for him. Cleveland ranks at the top 10 in what does that say? Okay, let's try that again. Cleveland ranks in the top 10 in defensive rebounding on the road. Denver on the other side, 3-6 against the spread in their last 9. Failures to cover against the likes of Washington, Sacramento, Memphis, and Phoenix during that stretch. They rank in the bottom 10 in home scoring, bottom 3 in shooting the 3-ball at home. Millsap's out, Barton's questionable. Denver 80% to the over in their last 10. Cleveland 7-2 to the over in their last 9 themselves. I'm going to lean Cleveland +13 and the over 217.5 in that game. All right, next and final matchup for the show, it is going to be Bucks taking on the Blazers, 10 o'clock Portland. The Bucks are -6, total open 230 down to 229. 68% are leaning Milwaukee, 73% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Blazers are plus 215 on the money line. Portland just 2-7 straight up in their last 9, 20% against the spread in their last 10. Meanwhile, Milwaukee, first in scoring, first in offensive rebounding, first in defensive field goal percentage. 4 out of Milwaukee's last 6 did get over the total. Give me the Bucks -6 and the over 229 in that game. All right, let's go ahead and dive into our quick pick recap. Once again, brought to you by patreon.com/BrockPage. I like Milwaukee -6 over 229. Cleveland +13 over 217.5. Dallas -2 over 223. OKC +1 under 216. New Orleans +9.5 under 224. Chicago +4 over 217. And last but certainly not least, I like Minnesota +11 and the under 230.5 in that game. All right, let's go ahead and dive into some shout-outs. Once again, brought to you by patreon.com/BrockPage. Shout out to Eugene Hart Sr., Big Vegas 05, Been Ready G. Shout out to Ant Ruga. Sorry about the NHL. We're going to try to get that going here today for you, Ant. Shout out to Jay-Z and Larice, JJ9910 from New York. Shout out to Vernon Williard, Stephen Lewis, Wyclef Izaboki from Kenya. Shout out to Paul. Shout out to Dr. Weidensvig. I don't know, dude. I keep butchering it. I'm sorry. Shout out to CQP Underboss, straight to the point. And last but certainly not least, shout out to Matthew James. All right, guys. That's going to do it for me. Once again, don't forget to check me out on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage, where once again we do daily premium sports picks on that website, beginning at just $1.99 per month. Now, you're probably wondering, well, what's the difference between what you do on that website and what you do here on YouTube? That's a great thought. That's a great question. So what we do here on YouTube is we handicap every single game on the board, both the side and the total. And the problem with that is if you were to bet your hard-earned money on every single game, side and total, you're going to lose in the long run. Just too many games. The math is against you. So what we do on Patreon is we really narrow it down and focus in on 3 to 4 premium selections per day. They're games that I personally have action on. And I'll tell you this much, my current record on Patreon is a whole lot better than it is, handicapping every single game on the board on YouTube, side and total. We don't take free passes. We don't, say, take this team or pass for me, or this is a stay away game. We do give you the benefit of formulating, an opinion on every single game on the slate, but we certainly don't bet every single game, side and total. That's where Patreon comes into play. That's where you see, where my action's at. So anyway, if you want to check out my current record, you can do that for free. It's right on the homepage. Once again, that is patreon.com/BrockPage. All right, let's go ahead and dive into our Spanish edition, also known as Edición en Español. Yo tengo Milwaukee -6 y las altas, Cleveland con puntos y las altas, Dallas -2 y las altas, OKC con puntos y los bajos, New Orleans con puntos y los bajos, Chicago con puntos y las altas, y final Minnesota con puntos y los bajos. All right, guys, we're going to finish out once again with another quick pick recap. I like Milwaukee -6 over 229, Cleveland +13 over 217.5, Dallas -2 over 223, OKC +1 under 216, New Orleans +9.5 under 224, Chicago +4 over 217, and last but certainly not least, I like Minnesota +11 and the under 230.5 in that game.